These are the most popular sneaker releases of 2023, and they might not be what you'd expect. What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler, and today I'm counting down the top 10 most popular sneaker releases of the year, meaning the sneakers that were the most resold that released in 2023. Because I couldn't really find another metric to quantify popularity other than total sold on resale sites, which I think makes sense, because if a sneaker is the most resold sneaker of the year, then it's probably the most popular. But first, before we dive into this eye-opening list, because let's be honest, I didn't realize half these sneakers were even going to be on the list, I want to give a huge thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Whatnot. Thanksgiving is a time for family, and Whatnot wants to give back to their sneaker family by giving away $25,000 worth of sneakers starting Thursday, November 16th. And not only that, I'm also jumping in on the action by giving away a pair of the brand new Nike SB Dunk Low April skateboards to one of you guys for absolutely free in my upcoming Whatnot live stream this Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure to not miss this event by clicking the link in the top of the description below, signing up for Whatnot, and bookmarking my upcoming live stream because, like I said, free pair of April skateboarding dunks. That's kind of crazy. Actually, it gets even crazier because if you guys stick around after my live stream and tune into the Whatnot Warehouse live stream, they're also giving away a bunch of crazy stuff like the Chunky Dunky SBs, like the Travis Scott Fragment Lows, Fragment Highs, as well as the Jordan 1 Dior Low. That's like a $6,000 pair of sneakers. And I mean, those are just the huge grails. They're also giving away a bunch of Air Jordan 4 SBs, they're giving away the Ama Maniere 4s, a bunch of other sneakers like that as well. So if you want a chance to win any of these crazy sneakers for yourself, again, make sure to check out my upcoming Whatnot live stream, linked in the top of the description below. And if you sign up for Whatnot using that link, you get $10 towards your first purchase. You could win a pair of Nike SB Dunk Low April skateboards, and of course, huge thank you to Whatnot for sponsoring today's video. But with that being said, let's jump into it. Number 10, the Air Jordan 5 University Blue UNC. This sneaker's placement on the list was definitely a surprise to me, because if you had told me that the Air Jordan 5 UNCs were one of the top 10 most resold sneakers of 2023, I would have been like, what? There's no way. Not to say it's not a good looking sneaker, but it might have something to do with the fact that the shoe is actually currently reselling for under retail. The shoe first released back in March for $225, and now you can grab pairs for around $180, which is like a $45 discount. So for a pair that looks as good as this, it makes sense that people are grabbing it. Speaking of the aesthetics of this Air Jordan 5, the entire upper is made up of a University Blue nubuck. And while Jordan Brand calls this colorway the University Blues, we know that this colorway is inspired by Michael Jordan's alma mater, UNC. It's like a very loose secret. And I know there's a lot of reasons why Jordan Brand does this. Probably they don't have the rights to the name UNC, even though it is technically a Jordan Brand school. And also I'm sure there's some aspect of people not wanting to buy a pair of sneakers because it's a UNC pair and not just a University Blue pair. So I understand that there's a lot of reasons why they don't name it the Air Jordan 5 UNCs, but it's no surprise that people online call it the UNC 5s. The rest of the design is rounded off with a reflective tongue, a black midsole, white shark teeth with blue splatter print, and this really interesting tag on the back of the sneaker, which I don't think a lot of people love. For whatever reason, on some of the colorways that were inspired by PE sneakers, the shoe features a tag on the heel instead of a Jumpman, which is fine. I'm sure there's a reason for it, but I definitely would have preferred the Jumpman, or in some cases the Nike Air. But all around, the University Blue 5s are a solid sneaker, and if you want to grab a pair, now might be the time because they're going for under retail. Number 9, the Air Jordan 4 Nike SB Pine Green. Man, I love this sneaker. This is like my favorite sneaker release of the year, and I'm genuinely surprised that this sneaker is so low on the list. Releasing back in March for a retail price of $225, this sneaker is one of the best Air Jordan 4s to release in a long time. Of course, that's my own opinion, but I mean, come on, look at it. The main reason this shoe is so exciting is because it's actually a collaboration between Nike SB and Jordan Brand. Essentially, what these two companies underneath the Nike umbrella have done is collaborate on a pair of basketball sneakers and make it skateboarding focused, which they've done on Air Jordan 1s before and obviously Nike Dunks, but the Air Jordan 4 is just such a dope skateboarding model. And actually, a lot of changes were made to this silhouette to make it more skateboarding friendly, like switching out some of the materials for some more durable materials, and in some cases more flexible materials, removing the air unit in the forefoot of the shoe for better board feel, and also adding the Nike SB branding to the heel of the sneaker, which, to be fair, doesn't make it a better skateboarding shoe, but it makes it look a lot nicer. But for me, as a non-skateboarder, the main selling point on this shoe was the colorway of this sneaker. The white, gray, and green look is so clean, and when you round it off with the gum outsole, it's incredible. And it's really no surprise to me that not only is this shoe one of the most resold sneakers of 2023, it's also a shoe that still resells for like $120 over retail. But I am surprised that it's this low on the list. Maybe it's because the shoe is reselling for like $350 and people just aren't willing to spend that on a shoe. I don't know. Number 8, the Air Jordan 1 UNC Toe. To no one's surprise, we've got another UNC themed sneaker on the list. This time around though, instead of being an Air Jordan 5, it's the much more popular Air Jordan 1 silhouette. And not only that, this shoe features the very popular bread toe color blocking, where they take the accent color from the back of the shoe and put it in the center of the toe. I think the reason a lot of people like this color blocking in particular is because it reminds people a lot of OG Air Jordan 1s without actually being an OG colorway. And I mean, you can't really go wrong with UNC blue or University blue on a pair of Jordans. It just looks good on Jordans in general. Maybe because we've been trained over the last 35 plus years to like like that colorway on Jordans, but either way, it's a good look. And as we've seen with Jordan 1s over the last couple years, the hype of this silhouette has kind of taken a nosedive. So for that reason, even though this shoe released back in July for 180 bucks, it's actually selling below retail now for around 160, which in my opinion is a great price for this shoe and for this colorway. And I actually don't have a pair for myself, so if I have an extra 160 bucks laying around at some point and I need something to spend it on, this might be the way that I spend it. Number 7, the Nike Dunk Low Light Orwood Brown Shishiko. This shoe was an absolute surprise to me. One, because I've never actually seen this shoe in person, which I would have thought if it's one of the most popular and most resold sneakers of the year, I'd at least see it on some people's feet, but maybe it's one of those shoes that people just buy because it's an easy to wear dunk and they just never throw it on, they just keep it in their closet. I don't know. This Dunk Low released back in March for 120 bucks and now is reselling for around $9 to $10 less at $110, so it's not an amazing deal, but you're still getting 10 bucks off if you decide to grab this sneaker now rather than paying retail for it a couple months ago. And like I was saying, I think the reason this shoe is so popular is because of the very wearable colorway. The upper of the shoe is made up of a white denim accented by a light Orwood brown stitching. As you may have already known from the name of the sneaker, the stitching comes in a Shishiko style, which essentially is a Japanese stitching style. I know very little about the style, but I do really like the stitching details on this shoe. I think it's a really nice touch, and it differentiates it from other Nike Dunks on the market. I also really like the red hits in the shoe, like the stitching details around the lace eyelets at the top of the shoe and also the red tag. It takes a very simple looking shoe and adds just a little bit of pop that I think makes the sneaker really stand out. Number 6, the Nike Dunk Low Industrial Blue Shishiko. This shoe dropped on the same exact day for the same retail price, $120, as the shoe that we just talked about, and it's part of the same collection. And because of that, this shoe, like that shoe, features Shishiko stitching details around the sneaker and also a denim upper. However, unlike that previous shoe, this shoe features industrial blue overlays and white stitching. And I guess if I had to pick a favorite out of the two, I would probably go with this one, as it seems like a lot of other people did because the shoe is slightly higher on the list, just because I like the color blocking better. I really like the blue denim overlays, and I like the fact that this shoe feels a little bit more dressed down than a standard pair of Dunks because it comes in denim instead of a leather. And not only is this shoe very wearable, but you can also grab it for $20 under retail. So you can grab this shoe for like 100 bucks, which is a great price for such a clean look. Really quick though, before we get into number 5, have you checked out my tech channel yet? Seth Fowler? You should, it's linked in the description below. And if you subscribe to that channel and comment subbed up underneath the unboxing that I've linked in the description below, you could win this PlayStation 5 for free. So it's definitely worth checking out if you want a PlayStation 5 or if you just want to see some tech reviews. Seriously, it would mean a lot if you guys subscribed. We're about to hit 100,000 subscribers over there. It's gonna be crazy. We got a lot more giveaways coming, so I'd love it if you guys checked it out. Number 5, the Adidas Campus Zeros. So even though it seems like the popularity of Adidas has sort of waned in the United States, mainly because of the separation with Yeezy, it looks like Adidas is making a big push into the sportswear category with a new popular sneaker. And that shoe is the Adidas Campus Double Zeros, or Adidas Campus Zeros, or Adidas Campus Thousands. I don't exactly know what to call them because every review that I've watched says something different, but I'm gonna go with the Double Zeros because that's kind of what it looks like. I thought Thousands initially because there's the Adidas Campus 80s, so maybe it's like the 2000s. I don't know. I have no idea. Either way, it seems like Adidas is making all of the right moves right now. The Adidas Samba is one of the most popular sneakers on the market right now. The reason it's not in this list is because it wasn't released in 2023. And now it seems like the Adidas Campus Double Zero is becoming one of the most popular sneakers of the year. And I'll be real, looking at this sneaker, it makes sense why this shoe is so popular. The Adidas Campus Double Zero features a suede upper accented by the 3 stripes in the midfoot panel and a flat outsole, which in some cases comes in gum. And I think the aspect of this shoe that most people are drawn to is the fact that it's so chunky. It's kind of got that 2000s skateboarding shoe vibe to it, and that's really popular right now. And even though I wasn't too familiar with this shoe before researching for this video, now that I know more about it, I kind of want a pair. It's really, really clean. And I guess the good news is for people like me, even though the shoe released in February for $100, it's reselling for under retail right now for like around $80 to $85. So I might grab a pair online. And for all you sneakerheads out there that are like, how is this shoe so popular? You got to think about the normal people who aren't just straight up sneakerheads. You got to think about those people who just buy shoes to wear them on a daily basis, not just buy shoes to keep them in boxes. So it's those people that are making shoes like this and the Sambas as popular as they are. It's those people who are buying the Nike Dunk Pandas. And that's why that shoe is so popular, even though all sneakerheads seem to hate that shoe, which personally I don't get. I think it's a very clean sneaker, but it is what it is. But it's no surprise to me that a sneaker like this is on this list. Number 4, the Adidas Yeezy Slide Slate Gray. I'm shocked that this is the only Yeezy slide on this list. I have no idea why that's the case. There have been so many Yeezy slides that have dropped this year. They're all very similar colorways. I don't know why this colorway is the one that's like head and shoulders above the rest. Don't get me wrong, it's incredibly clean. I understand why this shoe is so popular. I'm just not sure why it's this colorway over the other colorways. I picked up a pair of Yeezy slides this year, which you guys guys would know if you would watch my top 10 favorite sneaker pickups of the year, which you guys can check out by clicking the link at the top of the screen. But I went with the slate marine colorway because I kind of like that blue hit, or that blue tinge a little bit better than just the standard gray. But I guess people just vibe more with that gray than they do with the blue, so to each their own. In my opinion, not having any more Yeezy Slide releases is the biggest loss in this Adidas and Yeezy separation. It's one of those shoes that everyone can wear, everyone can rock. It looks very clean, it's stupid comfortable, and it's just a great looking pair of slides. And the fact that we may not have any more Yeezy Slide releases or even Yeezy releases because Adidas has suspended their sales of Yeezys sucks. I don't know what they're gonna do with their remaining stock because apparently there's hundreds of millions of dollars of pairs of Yeezys still in stock. We'll just have to wait and see. And it's just sad to know that there are so many Yeezy Slides out there that have not been worn yet, but in a couple years, they're all gonna be worn out and Yeezy Slides are gonna be crazy expensive, even though it's one of those like perfect everyday shoes. From what I've heard online, Kanye may still have the patent for the Yeezy Slide, even though they have Adidas branding on them. So he may be able to release them under his own name rather than through Adidas. So it's possible that we have a different version of the shoe in the future, but who knows? As you probably know or could have guessed, the slate gray colorway of the Yeezy Slides dropped earlier this year for $70. And as of right now, they are reselling for like $15 to $20 over retail. So if you want to grab a pair of these, you might have to pay like $85 to $90, which in my opinion is still not a terrible price, especially because these shoes did resell at some points for like $160 to $200. Number 3, the Air Jordan 1 SpiderMan Across the Spider-Verse. Also known as the Air Jordan 1 Next Chapters, this pair of SpiderMan themed Air Jordan 1s features this very interesting sort of mashup upper. Releasing in May of this year alongside the Across the Spider-Verse movie, this $200 pair of sneakers is actually currently reselling for less than $200. Which when it comes to the actual inspiration behind the sneaker, I really dig. I love the fact that this shoe is inspired by comic books and features comic book themes and accents throughout the shoe, but the way that they decided to mash up all these little details together in this shoe that's made up of a bunch of little different pieces sewn together, it just looks too busy for me. For example, the wings area of the shoe that features that comic book printing dot detail, which I think is a cool concept, but just looks too messy on this shoe. One detail though that took a lot of people by surprise was that glow in the dark outsole, which at first glance looks like a semi-translucent red outsole, but when you charge it up in UV light, it actually glows like crazy. And it glows white, which is weird for a red outsole. It reminds me of the 750s that had that brown outsole and glowed green. I don't know how they make glows different colors than the actual rubber used in the shoe, but it's kind of crazy. Although it seems like a lot of people don't love all the little details that make up this sneaker, I think the reason this shoe is reselling so well is because it's a Chicago-themed Air Jordan 1. And the fact that it also has something to do with Miles Morales and Spider-Man, I don't think hurts either. The Chicago colorway of the Air Jordan 1 is not only one of the original Air Jordan 1 colorways, but it's traditionally been the most popular. And because of that, Chicago colorways of the Air Jordan 1 tend to resell for a lot above retail. So when you have the chance to grab a Chicago Air Jordan 1 for a little bit below retail, it makes sense that a lot of people are grabbing it, even though it's not exactly a pair of Chicago's. And I mean, throw on a pair of long pants, like the upcoming APTHCRY pants, which we have dropping in the next couple of weeks. You can make this shoe look like a Chicago by covering up the top half. Also, if you haven't checked out my sock brand APTHCRY yet, make sure to do that by clicking the link in the description below. We've got a lot of awesome socks available right now. So hey, if you're looking for a pair of shoes that kind of look like Chicago's, you can grab these right now for $20 under retail, around $180, which I think is a pretty good deal. Number 2, the Air Jordan 4 Thunder. This shoe originally released back in 2006 alongside the Air Jordan 4 Lightning exclusively on the Jordan brand website. And because of that, when this shoe first released, it was incredibly limited and incredibly popular. Since 2006 though, the shoe has retroed other times, like in 2012, and now we're getting the 2023 retro, which is very similar to the original. If you didn't know, the colorway of this shoe is inspired by Michael Jordan's motorcycle race team and comes in a black nubuck upper accented by yellow hits. And this beloved Air Jordan 4 colorway is also the inspiration behind some other recent Air Jordan 4 colorways like the Red Thunders, which switched out the yellow for red. Yellow might not always be the most easy accent color to match with what you're wearing, but for this shoe, the accents are just enough to get your attention, but not too much to distract from the rest of what you're wearing. And of course, the history of this shoe and the fact that we haven't had a retro of this shoe in over 10 years also makes this sneaker a sneaker lover's dream. And when this shoe retroed back in May of this year for $210, it immediately sold out. And now, near the end of this year, it's reselling for around $260, which is $50 over retail, which I know last year or even the year before would have been like $200 over retail. So I'm happy that this shoe is not reselling for crazy money. And that might be one of the reasons why this shoe is reselling so well, because it's an Air Jordan 4, it's a super clean colorway, and it's not too expensive. Number 1, the Air Jordan 3 White Cement Reimagined. For months before the release of this shoe in February, this was my sneaker of the year. I thought this shoe was going to be the best sneaker to drop in all of 2023. And the reason for that is because this is like the first time that we've had an actual retro of the White Cement 3s since like 2011. Sure, there was the Justin Timberlake version of the shoe, sure there was the free throw lines, but none of them were actual White Cement 3 retros. They were just kind of variations in the White Cement 3 colorway. And well, yeah, I guess this one's kind of a variation on the colorway. It's more of a White Cement 3 than any other release since 2011. Like with the Lost and Found ones, Jordan Brand decided to release this shoe as a reimagined version of the White Cement 3. And in this case, they decided to change the white accents on the shoe to sort of a cream colored accent to make it look aged. And while before release, some people were calling these changes corny, when you actually saw the shoe in hand, the cream really adds to the look of this sneaker. It looks amazing. Plus, the heel tab of the shoe features the Nike Air branding, which always makes people go crazy, especially sneakerheads, so it's a dope looking all around sneaker. And not to state the obvious, but the fact that this is an OG colorway of the Air Jordan 3 just shot the hype through the roof. While this shoe might not be sneaker of the year for some people, I definitely think it's one of the best releases of the year and is incredibly wearable. They released in March of this year for $210, and now they're reselling for around $280. So not crazy expensive, but definitely a decent amount over retail. And I don't really know what the sneaker market's gonna do over the next couple years, but for shoes like this, an OG colorway that's incredibly popular, I wouldn't be surprised if the price starts creeping up over the next few years. So if you want a pair of these, now might be the time. But that pretty much wraps things up for today. I would love to know your thoughts on this list. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my tech channel, Tech Fowler, by clicking the links in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.